right, so welcome again to our Diversity and Inclusion panel for Rollins College. My name is Christina, and I am one of the admission counselors here at Rollins, as well as being on our Diversity and Inclusion team within the admission office. Tonight, we're going to go over just some of the initiatives that we have on campus. We also want to open it up for you guys if you have questions, so please use that Q&A function or the chat function to put those questions in, and we will try to address as many as we can. We have an hour slated for this, but I will start if Sam would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Vega. I serve as the Associate Director in the Center for Inclusion and Campus Involvement, working closely with the Embark program, as well as diversity and inclusion initiatives across campus. And I work closely with the Lucy Cross Center for Women and Their Allies.
Perfect. Thank you. And Kim, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kim Amaral. I am a junior here at Rollins. I'm a double major in international relations and religious studies. And some things I'm involved with on campus, I am a diplomat, which is a tour guide. I'm also a diversity envoy. And my freshman and sophomore year, I was really involved with Embark, and I'm also involved with the Black Student Union.
Wonderful. Yeah, and other stuff. Very involved. And so again, we have Kim here to answer any student life questions, Sam to talk about sort of initiatives on campus, and then I can speak to our initiatives within admission. And so I will share my screen so you guys we'll go through a presentation. If you're asking questions, just know that I'll get to them at the end of the presentation. So do not fear, we will get to your questions. All right, so again, you've made it to the panel on diversity and inclusion on campus. We wanted to first start out with just you guys getting to know the different teams on campus. And so for our diversity and initiative team within our within admissions, these are the people who are really, forward thinking and working with those initiatives. So we have Zaire McCoy, who is our Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management, as well as our Dean of Admission. Brandy Franson, who's our Senior Associate Director of International Admission. Ed Bustos, who is our Director of International Admission. Tisa Mays, who's our Assistant Director for Diversity and Inclusion. Karina Andijar, who is one of our admission counselors, and then myself rounding out the team, and I am another admission counselor as well on the staff. And then when we talk about outside of admissions, once you get on campus, we do have our Center for Inclusion and Campus Involvement, or CC. And I don't know if Sam wants to maybe talk a bit about your team.
Sure. So we have Abby Hollern, who serves as a director. We also have Jade Taylor, who serves as our assistant director in our department. And then Robert Whetstone, working with student outreach. As I mentioned, our office is very hands-on with a lot of different initiatives. So our department works closely with student activities, but also with diversity and inclusion initiatives across campus. And then within our department, we house the Lucy Cross Center for Women and Their Allies.
Great, thank you so much. And then another team, just for those students who are tuning in today, who might be international students, we do have our International Student and Scholar Services team as well. And so they work specifically with our international students just to make sure that you are successful transitioning to a university in the US, and then also helping with making sure your paperwork and documentation is up to whatever needs to be completed, and then making sure that you're finding your place on campus and getting involved and acting as a support group for you. So we have Jennifer Ruby, who's the director, and Megan Kaur, who was our assistant director for this team. Now, when we talk a bit about Rollins, just so you guys have an idea, if you haven't attended any of our other events, we are just over 2,000 students in our undergraduate population. And when we break that down, we have about 50% of our student body coming from the state of Florida, 40% are international. 40% are out of state, and 10% are international, representing over 60 different nations. So just based on sort of the experiences and where our students are coming from, we have a lot of different backgrounds and experiences coming to the table. Part of our mission statement at Rollins is that we want our students to be global citizens. And so again, just, where everyone's coming from, the experiences you've lived, the experiences of our faculty and staff, you're going to get that global perspective and thought just from day, before classes even start, I should say, based on, interacting with your peers. Now, when we break that down further and we look at the way that our students of color break down on campus, about 27% of students identify as a student of color. And you can see that further breakdown here. Our largest percentages, we are a predominantly white institution at 58%, and our smallest population being our American Indian and Alaskan Native at 0.1%. And then when we look at the other populations, and this is again self-reported by the students, we have 4% who identify as Asian, 4% Black or African American, 18% at Hispanic or Latino, Latinx, 2 or more identifications at 4%, that 10% who identifies as international, and then 2% who have listed unknown. And then in terms of how we sort of are seeing our applications this year, we are actually up in applications just overall, but particularly up 22% by our students of color in applications. And so we're really excited to see that we're going to, continue our trend here of trying to make it an accessible university for all. And when I break that down even further, we have Asian students are up 33%. Students who identify as Black or African American at 18% are up. Hispanic and Latinx populations are up 21%. And then our white students are also up in 33%. And then when we look at our international applications, we are up as well by about 155 applications as compared to where we were at this point last year. So we're just really excited to see that our students that we are reaching different and diverse populations, and that we're really working to continue to expand our goals within admission as well as within Rollins. Now, when we talk to as well regarding first generation students, as of last year, the class of 2020, 14% did self-identify as a first generation student. And then when we look at Pell eligible students, Pell Grant eligible, we have that at 25%. And then to just talk a bit about different, ways that students are involved on campus, and we can also, at the end of this, ask Kim to expand on her experiences. But these are some of our cultural and religious organizations that are open to everyone on campus. You do not have to necessarily identify within that culture or religion and still be able to participate or, participate in the events that the groups put on campus. And so these are, again, just some of the more popular ones. Our Black Student Union, Kim mentioned, our Caribbean Student Association, DESI, Interfaith Collective, Latin American Student Association, our Spectrum and Rollins coexist, our Voice for Women, Hillel, Amnesty International, the Rollins Philosophy and Religion Club, Chinese Student Organization, Muslim Student Union, and the Catholic Campus Ministries. Of course, there are so many different ways to be involved on campus. We have over 120 student orgs in total, but I did want to draw your guys' attention to some of our cultural and religious organizations on campus. And then these are some of our initiatives that are happening on campus now, and I might ask if Sam wants to elaborate on any of these.
Absolutely. So we do have the Embark program. The Embark program is a 4-year cohort program for students who come from underrepresented groups. We do have a 2-day pre-orientation that occurs before the actual orientation. We do have the Diversity Council, where we have one either faculty and staff member from every area across campus. And then we also have one of our SGA chairs, which is the diversity chair, who sits on the Diversity Council. And we typically meet monthly to discuss different things across campus. So this is a perfect opportunity to create policy change and things along those lines. We do have the social justice leadership retreat that we have taken a little bit of a step away from last year, but this year we're looking to bring it back virtually. And the only reason why we took a step away back from it is just because we just had so much going on related to diversity and inclusion that we just thought that this would just be another repetitive program. So we do have this coming back, hopefully in the spring semester virtually, where we would go over different social justice initiatives or things that are happening nationally. We do host diversity training as well as Safe Zone Advocate or our Safe Zone Ally training. Those typically happen upon request, but we do typically host 2 for students and 2 for faculty and staff related to the Safe Zone trainings. And then diversity trainings, we typically host 1 per group across campus every year. So that includes faculty and includes different departments and different organizations as well. And then a new initiative that we have across campus is the anti-racism learning groups. So those just started in response to a lot of the things that have happened in our nation within the last couple of months. So right after the murder of George Floyd, we decided as an institution that we wanted to create more education around diversity and inclusion. And that's when we sparked the anti-racism learning groups. Right now, we have about 178 faculty and staff across campus that are currently involved within those groups. We have 78 students who self-elected to be involved in those anti-racism groups. And then we have Fraternity Sorority Life starting their own initiative around anti-racism learning groups, that they're going to do their own track to focus more on the fraternity sorority life systems and organizations. And then we also are doing the same thing with our athletics groups that just started about a week ago. So across campus, just about everybody has been involved in anti-racism learning in some capacity, whether it be self-elected or within a group or organization that they're a part of.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sam. And then just to go over additional student support services on campus, ways that we keep our students engaged, but also feeling where they can go for whatever help they might need. And so we have our Wellness Center, and this helps students with any sort of mental or physical health needs that a student might need, whether that's in a group setting, one-on-one, if referrals are needed, medication, whatever the case might be. The Wellness Center works with our student body. We have our Office of Student and Family Care, which really acts as sort of the triage different potential issues that students might have identified, or families, if there are worries on either end, and ways to connect that. We have our Office for Accessibility service on campus, and so if you have any sort of 504 plans, or you have learning plans in place, or need additional support on campus, the Accessibility Services Office will work with you to try to help us as much as possible, whether that's a note taker, or you need more time for testing, whatever that might look like. We have our Tutoring and Writing Center, which does work for all of our students for all of our coursework. If you need additional help with material that you're covering, or you have a big paper due and you want to have someone review it, or you're not sure how to start the paper and you need help planning that out. We have our Career and Life Planning Center on campus, and they work with students as well as alums. It is a support that you have access to even after you graduate. And so they work not only with trying to help find internships and job opportunities, but really helping you hone in on, interviewing skills, resume and cover letter workshops, how to market yourself, ways to, bring employers to campus for networking opportunities. They host a mentor program as well with current alums. And so a student would be paired with an alum in an area of interest that is, of the students and an alum in that area. Our Center for Inclusion and Campus Involvement that we've discussed, our Center for Leadership and Community Engagement. We have our International Student and Scholar Services, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, that team that works very closely with our international students. Our peer mentors and residential assistants, these are upper class students who have gone through leadership training, who act as, again, as a residential assistant. They live on the floor or nearby in the residential halls, and act as, mentors, help if you are having any sort of roommate issues or you're not sure where to go. They are a great first step to try to help figure out what you should do. And then our peer mentors, every incoming student does receive at least 2 peer mentors. And they, again, are upper class students who work with you. They attend your first year seminar course with you, actually. So all incoming first years do take a first year seminar course. And so they're there to help with academics, as well as just, adjusting to college life, getting to learn Rollins. And then academic advisors. So our students really do have access to the faculty on campus. Even before you've declared a major, you will have an advisor. and they will be the professor of your first year seminar course as well. And so you get to meet with them even before classes start over the summer to discuss, any concerns or things that you're interested in, or if you need help figuring it out. And then once you officially declare your major, you might either be able to stay with that same advisor if it's in the same department, or might have to switch your advisor to your intended major. But these are just some of the ways that we do support students in a variety of ways on campus. Again, just making sure that our residential campus is one that is inclusive and that all students feel that they have access to and can get the support that they might need during their time at Rollins. So this is sort of the end of the formal presentation, but I do want to let you guys know too, for our, just staying connected with us, we are offering in-person campus tours, and so you are able to get to campus. Please sign up on our website to do a tour and info session. We are also doing one time a week live guided virtual tour and information session. And so if you are interested in tuning in from the comfort of your home as you are joining me tonight, we do also then just have a virtual tour that you can do on your own time. If you want to speak more one-on-one with your specific admission counselor, every student does have a counselor for where they live, then you can schedule a one-on-one video chat with us. And then if you want to talk more with a current Rollins student, we also have a platform for that. But I'm going to now open it up for questions. I know I saw maybe one or two come in already, but I want to help answer any questions you guys have, whether it's for me, for Sam, for Kim. We are here to sort of provide any assistance. So let me filter through. If you've typed in a question and I haven't seen it and I miss it, please type it again, just so that we can make sure that we get to it. Okay, so I have a question just generally about admission. So we have a student asking about regular decision and if they applied regular and if they can switch to early. And so absolutely, we are more than happy to get that switch for you. Just email your counselor and we will provide you the form. We need you to sign the early decision agreement form, just so that you understand that it does sort of mean, right, that if we accept you under early decision, that you will attend Rollins and that you will withdraw applications elsewhere. So that's that binding agreement. But absolutely, if you applied regular and you want to switch to early, just reach out to your counselor directly and we will get that sorted for you. And then this could be a question for Sam. Are students of color automatically invited to Embark? How does that process work?
Yes. So in short, yes, we typically email all of the students who have self-identified on all of their applications, their identity, and we typically also send out a general invite as well to all incoming students, because there are identifying factors that aren't on the application form, such as those who come from the LGBTQ population or those who come from different abilities, or who have different abilities. So keeping in mind that you might receive multiple emails, but typically we target students of color who self-identified, and then we do more of a overall invitation for everybody. You're muted, Christina.
Kim, are you part of Embark?
Yeah, actually my freshman year, and technically I still am too. Yeah, my freshman year, like that's how I came in. I moved in early. I did the pre-orientation and it definitely helped me so much on campus. That's where some of my closest friends came from. And like it was definitely the best thing. It helped me feel really integrated into campus as well. It was a great opportunity.
And then could you maybe talk a bit about, Kim, your experiences with the Black Student Union as well, if you want to go into that?
Yeah, definitely. So I joined the Black Student Union my freshman year. It was just really great to have that space to be able to talk about like all the current issues happening and everything. It was just really comfortable. And sadly, I'm not as involved as I used to be because of how busy I got. But my freshman and sophomore year definitely helped me. And it's a great opportunity. And it's also open to everybody. It's not just like students who identify as Black. It's like open to all people to just come and have discussions about what's happening in today. And we have really great events. We have like the Soul Food Sundays, which is just a great event to come to and eat some good food and make some really good memories. Of course, it's different now with COVID, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have a question too, for both Sam and Kim, if you want to discuss it. Was there ever a moment on campus where you had to deal either directly or indirectly with racism?
I guess I can take this. Me personally, no, I don't think I have. Not indirectly, at least. I think everybody, at least who I surround myself with at Rollins, they're very inclusive and very just, I guess, like up with the times, I would say, if that's the right term to use. But I've never dealt with that personally myself. I know some people who have, but like myself personally, I haven't.
No, thanks, Kim. And then Sam, I don't know if you've had any students who have come to CC with incidences or how something might have been resolved recently or something that comes to mind.
Me?
You're kind of cutting in and out
Okay, now is it better?
a little bit.
Okay, so that my internet's being a little wonky today, but
It's okay.
um, our office houses the bias incident form, which you could find on our website. So, yes, you have bias only related to racism. Um, just like most institutions, if I'm being transparent there, a lot of the stuff that we have seen has been sent out across, just like it just doesn't FYI with the notification, something that a student experienced on campus and stuff like that. So, I mean, in my I haven't seen many incidents, but
Right, but there is a process in place for that. And so we do have spaces for students where they can go. So let me see, it looks like I have some other questions in the other chat box. So we have a question about regarding housing. Is there accommodations for service dogs? Are there breed restrictions for service dogs? And so I don't know if Sam is also able to answer, or Kim, if you know. I know that we will allow pets, service animals, if it's emotional support or mental or physical needed. I don't believe that there are breed restrictions, not that I'm aware of. You would have to just work with accessibility services to get that sort of figured out, just to make sure. But I know students who have dogs and cats and other sort of emotional support and service animals on campus. We do also have a community service group that works with that works closely with training service dogs, service puppies. And so they are socializing the puppies on campus. And so they live with the student on campus just to, get socialized and ready to go into their service training officially. So that is one of our community service programs on campus. And then we have a question about financial aid opportunities available for international students. So that's a great question. We do offer financial aid on a more limited basis. There is opportunity for international students in particular. And so you would have to work either with Ed or Brandy, depending on who your counselor is, and just sort of see what is specifically needed. But do know that there is opportunity for financial aid as well as for merit scholarship for our international students. Let's see, keep going. Do we have a club or organization fair to get involved? Kim, do you want to take this one?
yeah.
We definitely do. It's huge and it happens fall semester and spring semester. It happens both semesters, but the one in fall especially is huge. You have everybody there and just, oh, I just totally lost my train of thought. Um, all the groups come and you can like come and like talk to them. I actually did a part. I did it for BSU my sophomore year, I believe, and then I was an Eli facilitator, which is like this leadership immersion for freshmen and sophomores, and I also did it then too. But that's where you come meet everybody on campus, all the girls. They're all super welcoming. You can get like free stuff too, which is always fun, some goodies. So yeah, we definitely do have that.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
and I know in the time of COVID, it looks a little bit different now. So we do still have free things that you could receive those locations that for the community fair, which is the club and organization fair that you'll probably see information about as we get closer to it. It will happen. So it'll sort of this, but it's more like hopping in and out of different WebEx rooms. So if you're like, I really want to go see 15 different organizations to learn more about them, you're able to do that.
Great, thanks, Sam. And so we have a question about if there's scholarships associated with being part of a cultural or religious organization. As far as I know, there are not. One of our cohorts on campus that is devoted to community service in particular, there is an additional scholarship that is available there for our Bonners Leaders cohort. And so if you're interested and really involved in community service, then I might suggest we will send out notifications, but typically early spring, that application will open. That one does require a separate application. And if you are chosen for that one, that is one of the only groups on campus that does have a hourly requirement that you're keeping up on for your community service, working with a community partner that you choose. But other than that, as far as I know, there are not any additional scholarships for other cultural and religious organizations on campus. Let's see. So does Rollins College have student groups who promote the different diverse groups? Are there live and learn communities? And so Kim, I don't know if you want to talk a bit about this on campus.
Yeah, so like the living learning community.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you come as a freshman at Rollins, you are a part of an RCC, which is the Rollins Conference Course. And basically, it is who you spend essentially your orientation week with. And also, kind of, I would say, like your first semester, they make up part of your social circle. This was pre COVID times and during COVID too, as well. But basically, like you're living with these people, like you have this class together, which you have 3 times a week. You spend all of orientation with them, and then also you have them like living in your dorms. I took an RCC called Be the Change, which was absolutely amazing, and about activism with Josephine Balzic. And I lived in a dorm building with a lot of my classmates. I would always see them, like if I was going to go like do some laundry, I would see them. We would talk about our assignments, like what's happening, and it's just a really great opportunity to get closer with your classmates, and also just helps like integrate you more into Rollins, I believe. But yeah, the living learning communities are definitely one of my favorite things about Rollins for sure.
Yeah, so I'd say we definitely ascribe to that idea of live and learn communities, knowing that you're not just going to learn in the classroom, that you're going to have additional spaces where you just engage in those conversations, the residence halls being a big one. And so that is why, like Kim mentioned, that we sort of pair students in the same floor if possible, but at least the same building as your RCC class, just so you have those familiar faces and you can continue those conversations and have people that you're seeing quite frequently every week in the same space as you, just to, again, try to transition to the college life. In terms of promoting different diverse groups, yeah, there are a variety of ways that we do that on campus. We talked a bit about the org fairs that we put on twice, once in the fall and once in the spring. And so that's your opportunity to really get to know all the different organizations on campus. Like I mentioned, there's over 120. And so really having that opportunity to just find out what's available to you and maybe things you didn't think you might be interested in or didn't even know there might be a club around it. And then also knowing that a lot of the events that these clubs put on are not just for club members. And so one of my favorite events that happened last year prior to COVID was our Chinese Association group putting on an event for all of campus for Chinese New Year. And so they set up in Mills Lawn and they had a really, sort of get to know more about Chinese culture and Chinese New Year specifically, getting to try new foods. And so they had different foods set up and, particularly for the new year. They also had a really beautiful large red dragon that they had that they were bringing around both inside and outdoors. And so that was an event open to all of campus. And so a lot of these groups do then open their spaces for others. And so it is meant to, again, be sort of that live and learn. You're in this community. Let's learn more about each other. Let's see, any scholarships specifically for students of color? So we do not have merit scholarships in regards to for diversity, we do offer our merit scholarships based solely on your application, academics, test scores if you submit them, and the rest of your application in particular. We do have those ranging from 10 to 32,000. And again, you're automatically considered for our merit scholarships when you apply. So there's no separate, application for those. Another question, kind of the reverse of one of the first ones I asked, if you applied as early decision and you want to switch to regular decision, are you able to do that? And yes, the answer is you can absolutely switch. Again, just email your counselor with your request to let them know, hi, that my name is, such and such, and I applied as early decision or applied regular decision, and I want to switch to one of the other options, and we can get that situated for you, no problem. So another question, maybe Kim or Sam could talk about, but how easy is it to get involved in organizations on campus? Kim, what has your experience been?
Extremely easy. It was so easy. I think I got involved in like way too many my freshman year. So I definitely dwindled down how many I'm involved in now, but it's extremely easy. I even I came into Rollins like not being a really big like fraternity and sorority like person, but I even ended up joining a sorority my sophomore year, and it's actually been one of the greatest like things I've done at my time at Rollins. So it's extremely easy to join so many different organizations. Like it's definitely like nerve-wracking. Like I remember coming in as a freshman and I was terrified to join, but like everybody makes it so easy and they're so welcoming that like it's probably one of the easiest things to do.
Yeah, and I agree. I think their groups are also really great about sending out notices, email campus notices, posting flyers, just letting all of the student body know of events coming up, letting you know if there is something that you might be interested in tuning into virtually as we navigate the space, or in person if we're able to host it in person. So we have a question that's asking, I think this might be for Sam in particular, with if there is an incident on campus, what happens to potentially the aggressor in that situation? Is there a process in place for repercussions there?
Yeah, there is a process in place for persons causing harm. It is on a
Oh, right. I think Sam is having still the internet connections issue. So hopefully she'll be back shortly. But I'll take another question. Would you say that the level of involvement in clubs and involving inclusion is large? Students says that they're very interested and passionate about social justice issues and equality, and wondering if the involvement level is high on campus. I don't know if Kim, if you want to answer that as well, based on your experience.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like was it this past week? We had a protest happening on campus, socially distanced, of course, but like tons of like organizations like came together to do this together, and they made like signs and then they protested on campus. I wasn't able to make the event sadly, but it was like an amazing thing to see. So like it's definitely happening, and if you don't see it happening at like the level that you wanted to, you can create your own club like too, so you can like get it rolling like how you want it to. So that's definitely an option as well.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree as well. I've seen a lot of faculty who work with students putting on events, again, in this space virtually, especially after the death of, the deaths that have happened over the summer, and then the BLML protests that have been happening, especially, and so bringing the community together to make sure that we have spaces to talk about it. And so that is also student-led and student-initiated. This semester too, we've had a number of shows in our theater department that are addressing different racial issues through different one-act plays and other shows. And so a lot of different ways that this information is being presented to campus, and that it is a campus that is very much open to social justice issues. And if, again, like Kim said, it's not to the quality or to how involved you are hoping it would be, students have so much potential for leadership opportunities on campus, to start a new club, to get it going. And that's something that we also really love to see on campus. So definitely it is there, and there's always potential for more, I suppose. So definitely, if you're on campus, feel free to take that as one of your projects or to start a new group. So we have a few questions about applying. So if a student lives locally, can they stay at home? And if you do live at home, will you miss out on opportunities? And so great question. If you do live within 50 miles of campus, living with a parent or guardian, you can commute to campus. You can live at home. So that is one of our exceptions. There are a few other exceptions. And so if you have a concern, definitely reach out to your counselor to discuss what those options might be. And so it's really going to depend, I think, for the student. I don't know if Kim, if you have any friends who commute to campus, or, you know, if you can maybe speak to what that experience might be like.
Yeah, definitely. I'm from Winter Garden, so I'm in the area within the 50-mile radius, but I lived on campus my freshman and sophomore years. And I also had commuter friends, and they were definitely involved on campus. Like, it's not that you won't be involved. I guess it's just like you miss just like the certain just like little aspects from like not living on campus. Just like more so just like the late night stuff at Rollins of like going to Dave's or going to go study together, like at like 12 o'clock in the morning, like those kinds of things that like for me at least really made college just like what like I wanted it to be. But I currently live off campus, so I mean it's different. It definitely is, but it's still I feel very involved. So it's not like it's just what you want to do, I guess, what you're most comfortable with, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And I also know too, we've had students who move off campus, but they're still within 5 to 10 minutes of campus. And so it's not a, you know, it's a quick walk or a quick bike ride over. And so you're not entirely removed. And then a few more, yeah, a few more questions about if they students applying and when they'll hear back. So if you applied early decision round 1, you should hear back no later than December 15th. If you applied early decision round 2, you will hear back by I should say that first deadline is January 5th, and you'll hear back by or no later than February 1st. If you applied regular decision, you are guaranteed to hear back by April 1st. But if you've had your materials in much sooner than that, so let's say you got them in before November for our priority scholarship deadline, it's also very possible you hear back much sooner than that. And so you can maybe expect to hear back by January or February. And so, yeah, so a student following up on that, it is possible. There is a slight possibility that you could hear back as a regular decision applicant before the end of this year. We do have to get through early decision applications first, just because they do have that earlier timeline. But we do try to get through as many applications as we can. And so there is a slim possibility you could hear back as well, especially if you've had, again, your application completed well by that November 15th first deadline.
I am so sorry, y'all.
No, you're fine, Sam. Welcome to virtual everything.
I actually just got a question from one of the potential students.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna like read it out loud if that's okay, Christina.
Absolutely.
So it's about like they say I hear about corrupt sororities during Rush Week. They deal in hazing and racially and financially discriminate. How is that at Rollins? I promise you will not be dealing with that here at Rollins. Like personally, it's not like that at all. It's very much like against the rules that we have here at Rollins. So like there's absolutely like no room for that at all. So I promise, like if you come in through recruitment, like it will be okay. Like I was definitely nervous about that going in as well. But I haven't felt that like at all. Like I'm even in a leadership role in my sorority. Like currently I just got elected yesterday. So I promise like you won't face that.
Congrats on your leadership role. And then I have someone who followed up, what about early action? We actually do not have early action at Rollins. We have regular and early decision. So again, early decision is that binding agreement that if you are admitted to Rollins that you will attend. We have then the priority scholarship round for the first deadline for regular decision. It is not an early action deadline, but it is for priority scholarship, particularly for our Alphonse scholarship, which is full room, board, and tuition. So that was November 15th. And then our final deadline for regular decision is February 1st. So we have a question, and then Sam, if you wanted to maybe finish out that one question we had given you about the process.
Yeah, so there is a process. It goes through the conduct system typically, unless it is a bias incident where harm is being caused, and that's when it's usually escalated and moved a little bit more quickly. So for every case, like I mentioned, it is case by case. If it's directed towards a student, such as somebody directing it directly towards me, then that process would be escalated, and we would ensure that everybody involved feels safe. Usually, it involves, if you're living on campus, we would move you from one resident hall to another, and then also provide any types of transportation between classes and buildings if needed.
Great, thank you, Sam. And then this is a question for Kim. Could you maybe talk a bit about how the transition was from high school into college?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a little bit nerve-wracking for me, as it would be for everyone, I guess. But honestly, Rollins made it super easy, that transition from high school to college. My peer mentors were the greatest people, and I went to them with so many questions just about everything, but they were helpful every step of the way. And my advisor, who was my RCC professor at that time, was absolutely amazing with that too. And there's honestly, like, everybody on campus, like all the different organizations, especially the Center for Leadership and Campus Involvement. Oh wait, CLCE. I'm sorry, I always forget like what the acronyms mean. Yeah, I went to them all the time too. They really helped. And then with internships and with resumes and cover letters, like it was everything I needed help with, I received. So that was made the transition as easy as it could be possibly. I'm sorry, I was stuttering all over the place.
No, that's okay. Thank you. So we do have a question that asking about the diversity of our faculty. And Sam, I don't know if you're able to take this or I can take it.
I will let you take it because you might have like actual numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say that we are predominantly a white institution for our student body. It is the same for our faculty at about 74%, I believe, and some of these numbers might have changed. But we do have about 11% of our faculty that identify as Hispanic or Latinx. And then we have some of our, I think it's about 5% or so for Black and African, Black or African American for our faculty. And then just about 4%, so about the same as actually our student breakdown for our faculty there. And then about 2% or so that either have listed sort of as unknown or as multiple ethnicities there. So that's sort of a general overview of our breakdown on campus. And then we have a question about how has Rollins navigated COVID this year. So I can start with that. So we have offered both in-person and virtual, and we're going to continue that into the spring. So for this fall semester, we did give students and faculty the option to either be entirely virtual or to be in person. So we have about 25% or so of our student body entirely virtual this semester. We have then about a quarter of the student body as well commuting to campus. And then the rest are living on campus. One of our biggest changes for on campus this year was having students live in single occupancy rooms. And so we really wanted to make sure students had a safe space on campus for themselves. That is the only place on campus where they're actually able to, be there in their space without their mask on. Masks are required everywhere else, except if you're stationary and eating sort of in one of our dining halls or facilities on campus. Other initiatives have been put into place. We have higher cleaning schedules. We have social distancing. We have the classroom spaces are spread out. We have more outdoor classrooms as well this year as to what we've had in the past. We have the sort of plexiglass dividers in a number of high traffic areas, including in the dining hall. So when you don't have your mask on in particular, if you're sitting across from someone, there is a plexiglass there for you. We have, just a variety of different ways. We have increased technology for students who are tuning in virtually into classes, whether the class is virtual itself or the class is in person and the student is tuning in virtually. So we've made a lot of adjustments to try to make sure that it's that everyone can access it depending on what their choices were. Kim, I don't know, or Sam, if you guys wanted to add anything, either your experience or anything I might have left out.
I would just say that Rollins has done a fantastic job and student in regards to COVID. Um, is a dashboard that you can look at live every single day that is on our website. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking that out if you want more information on like what is actually happening on campus. But they've been doing a fantastic job. I definitely agree with Christina that, there is plexiglass. There's ways for you to still have your mask off and like eat something or have a meal with somebody, but still limiting the amount of people who are gathering around, which we've seen a lot within our area. In regards to programming, we went completely virtual with programming, and then we were like, okay, let's try to do some in-person stuff. And it's just learning and trying to figure out like what's safe, what's not safe, and how do we go about that? Because you could ask him, there's been events where random stuff just pops up on the mill's lawn, and we're just like, great, we're gonna have a great time today. And we weren't able to have the capacity for that this year, except for having bumper cars on class in the middle of one of the parking lots last weekend. So, there are opportunities. It's just a matter of figuring out with COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a follow-up question about have we had any COVID cases? And so we have. We have a lot of different ways actually that the school is monitoring the cases on campus. We have not had any cases that have resulted in serious hospitalization or any sort of intensive care to this date. We have our residential halls are being monitored in the waste that is produced. There is a way for them to test to see if there's any indication that there might be a spike in a residential hall, and so to try to get students tested just to make sure. If a student does test positive, they do go into isolation until they are able to, for that 14 days, and then have a negative test result. If a student has been in contact potentially, but not necessarily positive, they do also then have to quarantine. We have a team that monitors the daily numbers every day, and so they let us know based on our COVID dashboard that we actually have for Rollins what the risk is on campus, whether it's low or moderate or high. And I don't believe we've actually ever made it to high. We're usually always low or low moderate, so really doing quite well in terms of managing it on campus and our students taking it seriously, as well as our staff and our faculty.
Technology is a lot of fun, y'all.
Lots of them.
Okay, am I back? Good. Okay, sorry guys. It looks like it's a Central Florida problem at this point. The faculty question is cursed. It's a similar breakdown to our student body, predominantly white, but we do have about 7% Black or African American, 6% Latin or Hispanic Latinx, 4% Asian, and then about 7% who are multi or unidentified. So hopefully all of that got through that third time. Third time's the charm, guys. It's fine. Okay, so we're in the last 10 minutes or so, and I know I don't think I've gotten to everything yet, but if there's a question that you really want answered, please retype it. I'm not sure if I maybe just passed it. Kim, I know you work in the admission office. Could you maybe talk a bit about getting a job on campus? What's that process like? Was it difficult for you? How did you navigate that?
Yeah, actually getting a job on campus was really easy. I definitely had help with I went to one of the centers I'm trying to. I always forget the acronyms. I'm sorry. Um, is it the Center for?
Career and life planning.
Yes, the CLCP, the Center for Career and Life Planning. So I went there. They helped me with my resume. They helped me with my cover letter for my first job, and it was a very envoy and with the admissions department. And then I got hired, and it was great, and it was super easy to get that. And then my sophomore year, I had like 3 jobs on campus, and they were all very easy to get. So like, it's definitely like there's options for everybody. Like, and everybody on campus is also like super involved. Like, I've known everyone who has had a job on campus.
Another question about, are international students allowed to stay off campus? Again, like I said, if you are living with a parent or guardian within 50 miles of campus, regardless of if you are international or domestic, we have, then you are able to. Otherwise, we do ask that you live on campus your first 3 years. Let's see. Does Rollins participate in diversity and inclusion conferences? And if so, does Rollins pay students to attend? I don't know if Sam, you want to take this one?
Yes and yes. We do attend a lot of diversity and inclusion conferences, some of them that are very specialized. So, like NCORE is one of them. Don't ask me what the acronym stands for, I'm terrible at it. There's also the NASPA multicultural conference, and we typically try to take at least 1 or 2 students with us if they reach out to us and say we really want to be involved. We've never had like a large amount of students that were like 10, 15 of them saying they really wanted to go. The largest conference that we have taken students to has been the NACA conference, and there are some diversity and inclusion aspects to NACA, and usually there's about 10 students that go on that conference every year. So there are plenty of opportunities. I'm going to say like this 1,000 times. You're probably going to hear it if you see me in other presentations. Ask, just ask, simple ask. If there's no job open in that office, if there's no internship, if you just simply ask, I promise you somebody will find a way to get you hired. And that's just across the board on Rollins's campus. We want to see you succeed. So if you're like, I really want to go to this conference and Sam, I can't afford it, great, I got you. And we'll try to get you there, whether it be you or a group of students and stuff like that. So definitely, we do it, and we would love to take you all there.
Yeah, absolutely. Does Rollins have a study abroad program? We do. We actually have quite high participation for our study abroad. About 77% of students go abroad at some point. Again, like I mentioned, global citizenship is one of those tenets of our mission statement. And so if you want to go abroad, we want to make it possible for you. So similar to Sam's response about if you are interested in conferences, the same can be said for study abroad. Any aid that you receive to attend Rollins goes with you. So it is the same price to study abroad for a semester as it would be if you stayed on campus. So you can go to Australia for a semester. We have over 60 different programs all around the world. I believe on most continents except for Antarctica as of right now. We do also offer summer programs and field studies, which are in conjunction with the class that you take on campus. We've had students who then do internships potentially abroad as well. Some majors such as international business do have that as part of their requirements. Again, they want you to have that diverse background. So if you want to go somewhere multiple times or go to a few different places, that is also very possible. So feel you're going to be able to go abroad for sure if it's of interest. All right, so I'll do a last, yeah.
I was going to say there's one question that came in that I would love to like quickly answer.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. There was a question that came in about hair, and I think it's a very important question. I would say if you are looking for a place to get your hair done, I would leave the Winter Park area and go into like the Central Florida area, West, those areas. And a lot more people who are specialized in curly your hair, or even if you're looking to do like braids and stuff like that. So I would say venture out a little bit out of the Winter Park area. If you do have questions as to like where to specifically go, just come to me. We'll find a place and we'll make it work. And we know plenty of people who go to plenty of hair salons as well as nail salons in the area that could help. So definitely. I just wanted to answer that
Yeah,
question because I know that's like a huge thing coming into like Winter Park. You're like, where do I go?
yeah, no, it's a super important question. Thanks for catching that one.
Of course.
All right, so I've had a few more questions, the last like 2 minutes, a few more questions about applications, and so I'll just review once more. You can still apply, whether our final deadline is February 1st, and we still will accept applications on a case-by-case basis after that date, but really strive to get it in as soon as you're able to if you're interested in Rollins. For students who applied early decision round 1, you will find out your decision no later than December 15th. For students who apply round 2, those applications are due January 5th. You will find out no later than February 1st. For students who applied regular decision, we guarantee that you will hear back by April 1st. But if you've applied by our priority scholarship deadline, which was November 15th, and you've had your materials completed for a few months now at this point, it's very possible you could hear back, as soon as December, January, February. So we do not withhold those regular decisions until April 1st. If we have a decision on file for you, we will release it as soon as we do. We just typically have to get through all of our early decision applications first, since those do have that earlier deadline for us. All right, are there anything, Kim or Sam, that you wanted to add to today's panel? Last things that we might not have covered that you wanted or hoped would be covered?
I would just say email us. We're happy to answer any questions.
Yes, please do. If I hope I got through most of the questions. I know that there might have been a few I did not, but please feel free to email me, email Sam, email Kim if you want to talk student life. You can also talk to other students on campus. We have our unibody platform to chat with any student on campus. So feel free to reach out. Kim put her email there for you. I'll put mine as well. If we don't know the answer, we will get you connected in whatever way we can. We are here to act as support, as help for those navigating this process that might be new. If you're a first-gen student navigating, a private college or a liberal arts institution, or just figuring it out, we are here to help in any way that we can. I really want to thank everyone so much for joining us tonight. I hope this was helpful, that you learned a little bit more about Rollins and our diversity and inclusion initiatives. And I hope to see you at our future events that we're planning. So stay tuned and stay engaged with us. I hope you all have a great evening and that you guys all stay safe and healthy out there. And we hope to see your application come in through Rollins. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.